Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to unravel a beautifully complex idea in programming called recursion. Now, it's a concept that can feel a little bit like a riddle at first, but trust me, once it clicks, it opens up a whole new way of solving problems. Okay, so let's just dive right in. If you've ever actually searched for the word recursion on Google, you might have noticed this little Easter egg. It asks, did you mean recursion? And if you click on it, it just reloads the exact same page. It's this perfect little real-world joke that gets to the very heart of what we're talking about today, an idea that refers back to itself. So what exactly is this weird idea that seems to loop back on itself? Well, at its core, recursion is just the process of defining something in terms of itself. Think of it like those Russian nesting dolls, where you open one up and there's a smaller one inside, and so on, or a picture that contains a smaller version of that same picture. Now, in the world of coding, we see this idea in something called a recursive function. And the definition is shockingly simple. It's just a function that, as part of its own set of instructions, calls itself. So let's look at what happens when we actually try to write a function like this one. It's super simple. It's designed to print the message, this is a recursive function, and then its very next move is to call itself to run all over again. Take a good look at that code. It prints a message, then it calls itself. That new call prints the message, and then it calls itself. So what do you think would happen if we actually tried to run this thing? And yeah, if you guessed that it would just run forever, you are spot on. And that brings us to the first big challenge with recursion. Without some kind of stop sign, this function will just keep calling itself over and over and over again. This picture is a brilliant way to see the problem, right? Just like Homer holding a picture of himself holding a picture of himself, the function will just call itself an infinite number of times until the computer completely runs out of memory and the whole program just crashes. Not exactly the result we're looking for. So, how do we control this really powerful tool and keep it from, running away from us? We need to give it an off switch. Let's take a look at how that's done. Well, the solution is actually pretty elegant. We have to give the function an exit strategy. We do this by adding a condition to check for, and when that condition is finally met, the recursion stops. And this all-important stopping point has a special name. We call it the base case. All right, let's go back to our message function, but this time, let's fix it with a base case. See what we did? We gave it a counter, this variable called times. Now, inside that if statement, it only calls itself again if times is greater than 0. And each time it runs, it calls itself with times minus 1, so it's getting closer and closer to that base case of 0, where it will finally stop. So what's actually happening inside the computer's memory? Well, this diagram shows something called the call stack, and honestly, you can think of it like falling down a rabbit hole. The first function call has to wait for the second one to finish, and the second one has to wait for the third, all the way down until you hit the bottom, the base case. Only then can they all start returning, one by one back up the chain. So this all boils down to two golden rules. You absolutely have to have these two things for any recursive function to work. First, you need at least one base case that eventually stops the whole process. And second, you need the recursive part to break the problem down into a smaller version of itself, making sure you're always moving closer to that base case. All right, now that we have the rules down, let's check out some of Recursion's greatest hits. We can see how this idea can solve some classic programming problems in a really clean and elegant way. Okay, let's take summing up a list of numbers. On the left, you've got the standard way we do it, using a loop. We call this iteration. It just starts at the beginning and adds each number one by one. But the recursive way, on the right, it thinks about the problem totally differently. It says, hey, the sum of n numbers is just n plus the sum of n minus 1 numbers. It breaks the problem down by referring to a simpler version of itself. This visual really helps it click. To get the sum of 5, the function basically says, hold on, I can't answer that until I know the sum of 4. And that function needs the sum of 3, and so on, all the way down the line until it hits the base case. Then, boom, the answers start flying back up the chain, getting combined until that final result is calculated. Here's another classic, the factorial function. And what's so cool about this one is that the mathematical definition itself is recursive. The factorial of n is just n multiplied by the factorial of n minus 1. The problem is literally telling you how to solve it recursively. It practically writes the code for you. But let's move on to a much more complex problem, to see where recursion isn't just elegant, it's kind of like a superpower.
We're talking about a puzzle that would be an absolute nightmare to try and solve with simple loops.
This is the famous Towers of Hanoi. The goal seems simple enough, right? All you have to do is move that entire stack of different sized discs from the first peg all the way over to the third peg. But there's a catch. There are 3 simple rules you have to follow, and these rules make the whole puzzle surprisingly tricky. You can only move one disc at a time, and a larger disc can never ever sit on top of a smaller one. Now, if you tried to figure out the exact sequence of moves with loops, good luck. It's incredibly difficult. But the recursive algorithm is almost poetic. It's so simple. To move a whole stack of n disks, you just recursively move n-1 disks out of the way to the middle peg. Then you move that one big disk at the bottom to the final peg. And then you recursively move the smaller stack from the middle peg right on top of it. That's it. And here you can just see that simple 3-step algorithm solving the puzzle perfectly for 3 disks. And believe it or not, this works every single time, no matter how many disks you start with. It's just a testament to the sheer power of recursive thinking. So, after all that, what is the big idea? What's the main thing we should take away from this little journey into recursion? The crucial point is that recursion gives you a new way of thinking. It's another tool in your toolbox. And while standard loops are often a bit more memory efficient, recursion can lead to dramatically shorter, cleaner, and way more intuitive solutions for certain kinds of problems, especially ones that have that self-referential structure, like the Towers of Hanoi. Ultimately, maybe the best way to think about recursion is like the movie Inception. Each time the function calls itself, it's like going one dream level deeper. It's a powerful way to solve these incredibly complex problems by just breaking them down into simpler and simpler versions of themselves. You just have to remember the most important rule of all. You always need a base case. You need that kick to wake you back up through all the levels.